Namaste and good evening. It's my pleasure to be part of this popular Take Web series. And then I'll be presenting in two parts. At first, I'll be discussing on opportunity and challenges, and second will be more on IT workforce in the context of Nepal. Although both topics have common areas, I will be presenting in two different sections with some common discussion. And let me start with the presentation. As I mentioned before, the first part of the presentation is part of IT growth study conducted by IIDS along with the World Bank, NAS IT, Dolma Impact Fund, and its partner. I have presented the findings of the study in few program already, and then a lot of media coverage was there as well. Second part of my presentation is mostly based on my own like PhD findings, and let me start with the presentation. As I mentioned before, the highlights will be to discuss on the existing gap, challenges, and future opportunity. And then the second is to discuss on the existing IT workforce in the context of Nepal. The status of the company, more than like 9,000 companies are there in the context of Nepal. And if we just focus on the export services, the industry is already more than $500 million, and approximately 106 companies and around like 66,506 freelancers are contributing to it. And its contribution is 1.4% to GDP, as well as 5.5 to 4x. I'm not going on details here. And then maybe like if we really talk about the export services scenario, programming, coding, design, software development, and testing are on the highlighted areas of work. And if when we look at the position of the company, they are quite good because like 58.3% of company frequently receive work, but there are more on other side as well. So much needed to be done to tap the potential. And around like 78% of the company receive project-based work currently, and most of the assignments are from the United States. Recently, there has been some shift in the trend with the more companies working with the countries in Asia and Middle East, such as UAE, Bahrain, Bangladesh, Bhutan. I think for Bangladesh is mostly like spillover effect as well, as they are also getting like a lot of export services demand. And then Bhutan, Indonesia, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, among others. And in terms of like employment, and then when we talk about youth or the workforce that are involved in this sector, recognizing the potential of this demography, the government of Nepal is urged to implement youth-centric policies to capitalize on the talents and prevent brain drain. And then there's like a lot of silver linings with the amount they are earning, and then the way they are working. So our transition from a kind of like labor export to service export can address the issue of brain drain, because we have been talking about that since long. And with this like current trend, it's really alarming, and then much to do in this area as well. And to leverage Nepal's demographic dividend, still we are not late, but I mean, it will be late soon. So leading to socioeconomic and political reward. The average income of all the level of like IT worker in export services are quite good, as I mentioned before, and education levels are also good. However, in terms of skills and competencies, there are gaps, which I'll be explaining in my second section of the presentation. More than 9,000 IT graduates each year enter to the market. This is kind of like, as we have to be based on some reliable data. This is still, conservative data, but this is what we have on the basis of the information we have found, with an additional of 35% from non-IT education sector. And in terms of freelancer, like more than 79.5% freelancers have like bachelor degree. And then although like there are challenges in education system in the context of Nepal, 93.7% of employee on tech industry are educated in Nepal. Gender is also a big talk, and there is a problem even at the entry level. So only like 16% are only women, and if we really see this deep down, around 9% of women are in the core tech area. I mean, rest are mostly in the support area. For a few years, there is a huge need on investing on IT companies, and then seed fundings to startup, business escalation, funding to company, and then like going global in all the aspects to the larger company. All needs like really funding, and then maybe like by facilitating software from BFIs or like also providing effective and easy access to private capital, maybe the way out. And in as we have like small and medium scale IT companies in larger number, so maybe we need to address more on the IT startup as well, so that they don't die down, and then innovations are not dying at the same time as well. In terms of like infrastructure, I mean, there are like a lot of problems, we know, but like many problems, we always discuss about that. However, the situation is better than before in terms of like mobility, access, and then in terms of the internet services and the quality of it also. Although that there are like some problem on the wireless internet for sure. We also maybe now this is time for us to also start thinking on the tech infrastructures and platform beyond internet and electricity. So like I want to pose the questions here, like what if Patao and Daraz leave the like country? We need to think on something like that is really homegrown and sustainable from the customer perspective too. Although our market is smaller in comparison to other country, but there are few success cases, and then how can we bring those success cases to global for all those things. Like we need really proper infrastructures and platforms that can cater the bigger needs if we want to global as well. Other aspects, like it's been long that we have been talking about IT park, and then so like there are few discussion ongoing on how can it be the concept on supporting these IT companies and freelancers rather than just like building some isolated buildings somewhere else, or like maybe focusing some areas on where like companies and freelancer can come and work, and then like use the services as well as earn from there, maybe near the city center, which is really usable. Policy has to be supported, and for especially like IT industries from the practices of the like successful country, policy and regulation really anchor the industry, and it is backbone. Although like there are few things that has happened already, if we really talk about the budget this year or monetary policy, but the implementation and then how it will be really formulated is the question, and it will be beneficial for the companies and freelancers if it is like less restrictive for a few years. I mean, when we come to talk about the regulation, we always think like I mean, we think of regulating it. So, but the unique industry like this, if we just give subsidy or like support for a few years, I think there will be long-term return, and then we should not be really focusing on the short-term benefits, or maybe let's say like from the government side taxing it more than what companies and freelancers are earning. Also, there is also need of coordinations like among us stakeholders, and companies need to understand the unique sector. I mean, a lot hasn't happened, but I I personally feel that the consolidated effort is really missing in the context of Nepal. I mean, if we really want to go global or even to cater the bigger aspect of this bigger segment of the population, I think companies are working on their own expertise and bit and pieces. And if all this strength are accumulated or consolidated, that will be really helpful, not only from the advocacy perspective, but also from the service expert perspective. I mean, each can like put their own strength to it and then be bigger when standing in front of the global market. And companies or and even the freelancer also need to understand the current policies and regulation and the gap that can be addressed to uplift the sector, because 93.8% perceive like lack of political commitment in the sector, and then 87.7% like really willing, they feel like there is not enough like willingness of the government authorities as well. And I've been talking about this since long, actually. Many countries have adopted like short-term and long-term IT strategies, actually, proactive approaches toward embracing opportunities and adapting the global trend. Nepal is, yes, known as a country of Everest, or like we have been very successful on catering the tourism sector. But like there are very few countries or like corporate areas who really know like Nepal's strength on IT expert services as well. So this will be key if we can go with effective slogan and branding strategy from the government level itself and open to the global world. That this will be key to reach out from the national level to show commitment as well as the priorities of the country to the rest of the world. Regarding the public-private partnership in investment and like infrastructures are key, and like human capital formation will not be possible and strengthened without a meaningful coordination and collaboration among university, industry, and government. So in both sector, investment and infrastructure as well as human capital, there is like strong coordination and collaborations are needed. We have been talking about this since long as a jargon, but like in meaningful approach, I mean, there are few initiatives that has been done, but still they are fragile, they're weak, and it has been limited only to organizing some activity of the project or in the workshop or event. I mean, these are important, but I think that need to have like long-term goals and practices, and I think that's really important to integrate these things in our like policy or plan that government also formulate in the future. So I'm kind of like coming to the conclusion of the section, like the initial, the initial part. Yes, the promotion of borderless and weightless goods and services hold like immense significance for Nepal. We have a lot of opportunities, and then we have been doing good. But like if we don't continue it in the proper manner, maybe sometimes 1 or 2 years of the silver lining are just a lot. I mean, we cannot continue with the same thing. So to scale or to expand it further, there need to be good promotion on this. And Nepal can, of course, like gradually transform its economy and reap the benefits of a digital-driven world in terms of like as we are also graduating into middle developed countries. So I mean, in that perspective also, so there is a lot of opportunity for us to have negotiations on the trade rather than just like asking for the grant or like depending on the aid. So we can show to the rest of the world like these are our strength, and then we need network or we need their support on reaching them rather than just like waiting for the aid, which we have been doing since long. So now I'm in my like second part of the presentation, and then as I mentioned before, I'll be taking question and answer later on at once. This section will be really focusing on empowering like Nepal's IT workforce. Uh, so, Talking about the human capital, 66.7% of IT company mentioned that there is a limited level of skills. Sorry, that's spelling error there. Skills and competences among the Nepali IT workforce, and then 63% of the employees, like entry level employees, are below average, as well as like means middle level are average and good, but I mean there are a lot of other problems associated with the middle levels on like working as a freelancer later on, or like companies are having a problem to get such human resources as well. And senior level is at excellence, 53.1%, and mostly like senior levels are like mostly co-founders, or like they have good exposures and trainings. So this is good, but in terms of like really looking at the future, if we really talk about the sales and marketing aspects, or like management aspects, I mean, there are a lot to happen in this area too. In terms of like competences, there is more gap than skills, and companies spend more than 6 months to train fresh entry, 3 months to middle level, and 1 month to senior level. And quality has been the major concerns as well. In addition to the core technical skill, soft skills are expected from Nepali workforce. Among all, like communication, teamwork, and time management are few crucial skills that are demanded by the employers. These are the like factors associated with employability of ICT graduate, and this is part of my PhD research finding. I conducted a study among like 390 employers, not only like export services, more Nepal, as well as like companies in Nepal who are doing catering services inside the country, so services and product and services both inside and outside the country. So 390 employers, and then 445 ICT graduating students who are kind of like involved in some way or other in employability, in term employment, and then internship, or those who were like waiting for their results after their final exams. So three dimensions named as like core skill, personality attributes, and organization adaptability skills were the factor that were associated with the graduate employability in ICT sector in Nepal, with along with the 26 components. So, if we talk about the factors, three factors: core, personality attributes, and organization adaptability skills. And I'm within them like 26 components. So for example, in core skill, technological capability, digital transformation awareness, learning aptitude, process management, acumen, software skills, time management, hardware skills, analytical skills, internship skills. So these are the items that are like valued by the employers as well as the graduating student, and among which like technological capability is at 0.832, so which is very obvious that in tech sector, I mean tech core tech skills and competences are most. And in terms of like employability by graduating student, and when comparing between the graduating student and employers, there is a significant difference between the employability as perceived by graduate student and employers. This means that there is a huge gap, the huge gap on what we teach, or what our education system is catering versus what we are requiring in the industry, and it requires a major interventions as well. This signify that it requires a major interventions. And while looking at the level of, I'm not going into details here, but I just want to bring it like While looking at the level of the graduate employability, the development of student core skills and personality attributes, which I mentioned on the earlier slide about three major factors: core, personality, and then the organization adaptability skill. The development of students' core skills and personalities attributes are just present, yet to be consolidated. So, if we really put the skills and competencies on the scale, like starting from traces, emergence, presence, consolidation, and then optimization, our level is just at a present level, presence level only, but yet to be consolidated. The organizational adaptability skills are just emerge and are not even fully present. In the view of graduating student, all this dimension as core, personality, and organization adaptability are just emerge and not present. That not present as expected. So to look at really minutely, 85.1% of the employers said that like core skills of graduates are at low level, which is alarming. And then 64.61% of employers were not satisfied with the graduates' performance, out of which like 32.94% employers say that the fresh graduates have inadequate skills. Similarly, they also mentioned that around 56% fresh graduates have less practical skills, and 11.51 focused on like going abroad only. They are not even interested on some of the opportunities that are provided by the university or colleges or employers in the context of Nepal. However, with all this like the gaps I discussed before, employers also appreciated that our fresh ICT graduates are quick learner. Still, we have that like kind of STEAM background with the cognitive skills, and then they also have like aptitude to learn and are hardworking and talented. And after like finding those gaps, I really dig into the reasons behind the gap. I use like case study method to come to these conclusions. And then the second phase of the study was utilized to explain the reason behind the gap. Like we talk about the gaps, right? So there are gaps, between the education system as well as like employment opportunities. And I'm presenting some data with Soul now. I had overwhelming experiences while engaging with my participants. Like some were crying utterly, reflecting their hardship on completing their course with more than 48 exams. And then, when they really counted, they had more than 300, tests, which really reflect their hardship on completing their courses to become graduate. And some even share their frustration with the like mindset of the fresh graduate, like really complaining about the university, or talking about the helmet teacher who run from one college to other. Maybe you are familiar with that terminology of helmet teacher, who take like classes in many colleges as well, and they are not really focusing on the practical aspects of the learning. Rather, they just are focused on completing the curriculum or like the courses as well. So, refocusing on my agenda of my finding, there were like six gaps, and that these are insufficient work-based learning, later engagement in extracurricular activity, weak university-industry relation, limited engagement of student in building employability skill, inadequate curriculum to cater the industry and the global demand, and inadequate practicum. So the first gap was inadequate practicum. Like ICT graduates do not get adequate opportunity for hands-on experience and exposure to work. To really share a very sad story that some of the colleges, graduates just complete their courses by just giving exam and reading notebooks, not even using laptops. So which is very pathetic, I guess. As Saudat, graduating students share, in the 4-year long course, we're assigned to carry out only a project that was also mere formality. Among other gaps was improper curriculum design, update, and delivery. In this like rapidly changing technological environment, curriculum design, update, and delivery did not adequately address the need of the current market. And then facilitators were not able to deliver with excellence. So I want to present what Sweta, another graduating student, said. To share that I felt that the university taught us courses that are not needed in the professional field. We wasted our time focusing on the irrelevant subject just to give exams. Courses have not been assessed and updated correctly. So the third gap was insufficient work-based learning. I'm just sharing a few cases here today. Specifically, students do not get like educated opportunity to invest their time and efforts in internship and work-based learnings. It was found that like internship is considered as a ritual task in several colleges, and in some cases, it's very bad to hear such stories that the certificates. I mean, students just request for the certificates of internship and not really interested also like to get really into the work. It was also surprising to find that like course like ICT, which is more applied based, still 62.5% students do not do internship during their course, and only 55.9% employers offer internship. So there are like a lot things that need to be happen from all the stakeholders in that matter as well. And even like if we talk about the internship, it's not. I know like it shouldn't be standardized or formalized, but there should be basic minimum standard at least and that has to be catered by both the like university and employers if we are talking about internship, and then the quality of internships as well. The other one was like weak university industry relation. Consequently, there were like limited opportunity for graduating students to learn the industrial system, with engagement of industry representative in university being a formality again. So Binay, academician, mentioned with his experience. If and these all names are shared in for information, assuring the vicious ethics. If industry chooses to isolate from working with the academia, after certain time, academician become absolute, and if academics does not fulfill the industrial requirement, learning at the university becomes outdated. So this is what one of the academician shared with us. The fifth gap was the students' lesser engagement in extracurricular activities. So there were limited opportunities for graduating students to participate in extracurricular activity. Sakar, one of the graduating students, shared that we organize boot camps and hackathons. We know the interest of students in such events and can groom them for our related project. Some academicians actually also agree that ECA is the life of ICT student, but there is not enough opportunity that all the students get engaged or are part of it. But those who are involved are really excelling, and then they are showing like proactiveness in even their workforce or their future as well. The sixth gap was a limited engagement of the student in building employability skill, because like some students focus more on their score than on knowledge. Our mindset and then the culture we are brought into, we always excel to get A plus. That's what we have. Like we have been teaching from the very early stage. But thanks to this grading system, at least the student now doesn't have to compete for to be first or second in their class. So at least like many students can be first or can be second in their classes, which is also like a good practices already. But like at the same time, in that like, student felt insecure about staying in the country as well. So and other issues like cultural situation which are not conducive for the female student to engage most in development of employability. For example, I mean, male friends, they can stay till late and then work on the project or experiment with it. But like for female, there's additional challenges to be engaged in the extracurricular activity or out of course activity. Whereas one of the academician shared that like our parents and society appreciates good grades, and then kati ल्यायो is the question. Ke aayo is the question that has been that is asked in every results day. So they appreciate good grades. So the way children are focused on exams to make parents happy, or like to make to just establish themselves in front of other peer, that are really focusing on exam and mugging up the concept than to understand it is really serious issue. As a part of the research finding, the proficiency model for sustainable employability has been proposed. The model connects existing competencies of which all the gaps we talk about in earlier presentation of ICT graduates and ICT stakeholders in the process of developing graduate employability. There's a gap to fulfill. Emergence and presence, level are just not enough to perform the work. I mean, even for the not for the experienced employee, but even for the fresh graduates who are under some employee or mentor, fresh graduates are at least expected to be in consolidated level to perform their tasks under supervision. To excel in their career, graduates are expected to be at the optimization level. So it unveils the existing situation of the employability that is connecting to core skills, personality attributes, and organizational adaptability skills of the ICT graduates, which are still at the presence and emergence level. So at least for fresh graduate, it has to be on the optimization, like it has to go towards the optimization level. At least if they are under supervisor or like mentor, we expect that to be at the consolidation level. So the minimization of the gap is highly necessary as it is hindering the employability. And as a gap is bridged by just like, I mean, if you just see the positive part of all those gap, we really excel in the extracurricular activity, practicum, work-based learning. If we have strengthened university industry linkage, and then we have like a proper curriculum design, update and delivery, or like our socioeconomic and cultural aspects are somehow addressed, and this will definitely mitigate the gap, and that big gap will just go just go on grow smaller, and then the effort of the government, university, and industry are indispensable in this connection in the process of like curriculum design, update and delivery, and university industry linkage. And learning through the extracurricular activity, it helps like students to engage in the recent development outcomes of ICT, and likewise like students enhance their level of employability with adequate practicum, work-based learning, which is really helpful in exploring the career in ICT sector through their direct engagement with the work. And in the age of artificial intelligence and then generative AI, this is more needed. I mean, we need to have hands-on experience to really understand what we will be doing. And the minimization of existing gap is much necessary, and these measures which are explained by the study is to bridge the gap. And as the bridges are mitigated, the process gradually enhance the graduate employability, and the effort of a stakeholder are the most. The persistent learning from graduate also enhance the human capital, which is explained by social cognitive career theory and human capital theory. So as ICT sector is dynamic in the nation, additional because I mean the number of curriculum update or design and delivery are the quality are even upgraded as this sector is really evolving. So additional upskilling and reskilling and has to be there every time, and it also supports to mitigate the problem. So I'm towards the, I think this is my last slide. So there's a mismatch between graduating students' level of employability and employers' expectation. And there is also a struggle in ICT industry to impart the required core skills to students. The additional effort of the ICT industry fulfill the need of the industry to reflect the core learnings in work setting. Similarly, personality attributes normally not only develop within a certain academic program, but also like connect with the opportunity provided to students for strengthening their personal abilities. Strengthen like strategic and genuine engagement of the stakeholder at the policy level are also found to be lacking, and because these are the strength, right? So it's a backbone of ICT sector, human capital. So if it is kind of like lacking from the policy level, it will really definitely reflect on the implementation level as well. So other areas like practical exposures and extracurricular activities provide an opportunity for students to update themselves on recent technology and are also primarily connected with the personality development of student and adaptability of them. I mean, we never thought COVID would come, although in ICT sector that has come, but maybe there will be because this is kind of like volatile and uncertain work. So adaptability among them. A really important factor, and it's a crucial for the growth of the industry as well. And strong engagement of all the stakeholders, including graduate institutes, a strong commitment to developing like large human resource pool, contributing ultimately to the economy of the country. Yeah, thank you everyone for your attention, and please put your question forward in chat box or like as JG mentioned earlier by unmuting yourself, and I'll try my best to clarify it further. Thank you so much.